ask you a question. Are you a smart, capable person? You must be, right? That would be your answer. Okay, then I have another question for you. How well do you handle tricky questions? Is your answer still the same? Do you still think that you're a smart person? Aha, I caught ya. Answering tricky questions is where most people get caught, especially for job interviews, because that gets you off guard, right? You don't even know when they question you, and right there, the question is. Don't worry, it's not just you. We all face such situations in life. And we all get into situations when we are asked tricky questions and we have to answer them. So that gets really difficult. But what should you do? The question is, how should you handle tricky questions? Well, my answer is, first, you should not panic, you should relax. And second, you should keep watching this video, because today we are going to learn how to answer tricky questions which are very difficult to answer but very smartly. So keep watching. My name is Michelle and this is Skillopedia, the place to learn skills for the real world. Trust me on this one. Sometimes the problem is not with how you understand the question, but with the person asking the question. And mostly it's with the question itself, which means that either he has put the question wrongly or maybe he missed out on adding some information. If you have no idea where to begin a question and you're really confused, then there's a high chance that the person did not put their words carefully. So what should you do then? Well, you should politely ask that person to explain their question to you in different words, which means to ask for clarification. For instance, if they ask you the question, where do you see the role that you've applied for heading in 3 years? You would easily realize that this is a vague question, which means it's not clear what job role is he talking about and what will happen to the job role in 3 years. So you could respond with something like this. That's a great question, but I'm not sure where to start. Is there any way you could be a bit more specific with that question? Then they will respond, how do you think the primary responsibilities will change for this job role in the next 3 years? Which will definitely be easier for you to answer and to describe how the job responsibilities will change in the future. So this way, you will be able to ask for clarification at a time when you feel that you've not understood the question. So ask for clarification to answer smartly. If you're asked a question in a job interview which includes a word or a term for which you don't know the meaning, what should you do then? How should you tackle it and how should you proceed? Well, for this one, it's best to ask for clarification, as I've already told you, than to answer by guessing the meaning of the word, which may in turn make you look like a real fool. Because you're in an interview, you can't really try guessing. However, mostly you may be presented with a question which includes a flexible term, like failure, and you can use this term for your own benefit. For instance, suppose that in a job interview, you're asked a question like, describe the last time you failed and made a mistake at work. So that is really tricky. And what you did about it. You have to answer this as well. This can seem like a really tricky question. However, you can take it upon yourself to define failed. You can use failed for your own benefit. So instead of talking about the time you actually failed to meet an important deadline, you can choose to describe the time you failed to implement a good work and life balance. For example, when you worked overtime for a week, harming your own personal life while benefiting the company. This way, the interviewer will have no opportunity to doubt your dedication to the company, and you will use the word failure for your advantage. So you can use such flexible terms for your personal benefits to give smart answers to tricky questions. Do you know that your attitude is sometimes just as important as the actual words that you use in an interview? Yes, that's true, especially when it comes to a job interview, which is our topic for the day. Yes, many job interview questions are specifically asked to test how much you actually know about your job role, or how well will you fit into that job role. So therefore, most interviewers will not expect you to know the answer to every question, because it's just not practically possible to know the answer to every question. In fact, sometimes the way you tackle the question, which means the way you handle the question, and your general attitude speaks volume, which means speaks a lot about you. What I mean here is, if you don't know the answer and you quickly accept that you don't have a ready answer to that question, this will surely impress the interviewer much faster than a nervous and half-hearted response. They are quick to understand a nervous behavior. For example, suppose you are asked, how would you picture yourself working with the advertising department if you were given the role of a salesperson with a new company? Though you may not have a clue about working with the advertising department and as a salesperson, and you don't know what you would do, you don't know the real answer in reality, but talking with confidence, courage, and enthusiasm about how much you would like to take up challenges and newer opportunities, maybe the ones you're not even familiar with. This will help you gain brownie points. I can promise you on that. Because the interviewer will know that you're ready to take up new challenges and you're not afraid to answer a question that you don't know the answer to. So in this case, your attitude and your behavior matters much more than your answer. So use this strategy to answer smart and tricky questions. Many a times in a job interview, you may be unlucky enough to be asked an inappropriate question, such as, are you thinking of taking time out of the workplace to have children in the near future? It can be really hard to know how to respond to such a question or to such a query. However, thinking that you still really want the job, you might want to answer this. And a sensible approach, which means a sensible attempt in such a question, is to react in a very short manner. Just say, no, I'm not, and then redirect the question. You can take the question to another direction or to another topic. For instance, to continue with this whole idea and the example that I've shared with you, your answer could go as follows. No, I'm not, as I'm really encouraged to use my extensive and great experience in this field to further my skills. In areas, for example, you could give the areas that you can think of, XYZ for now. So this is how you can redirect a question which you think is inappropriate. This means that you can lead the topic elsewhere, and from your personal life, you can lead the question back to your skills. So this is one more way to answer a tricky question in a very, very smart manner. So whenever we need to answer a really tricky question, we need to get into a very careful habit. And this habit is to speak in a controlled tone and leaving slight pauses while you speak. So you should pause and manage your tone, which means that you should not sound too loud, too offensive, or just too nervous and too soft. Sometimes a few extra seconds of pauses can really make a difference to your answer, because when you pause, you get the opportunity to actually think about what you're saying. You get the opportunity to recollect your thoughts, and you can look the examiner in the eye and you can allow yourself to have a brief moment. Using that, as I said, you can collect your thoughts, think of what your answer would be. So that's the time when you use to recollect your thoughts, have a positive body language and answer. Okay, now even though this point does not help you answer this question directly, but this will definitely help you look more confident. And as I told you, your body language and the way you behave in front of the interviewer is just as important as the words. Sometimes you may not have just the correct answer, but the way you appear and your confidence makes you appear really strong and confident. So be strong and look him in the eye, take some pauses and answer a smart question in a very tricky way. Many a times during an interview, you can actually choose to answer a question back with a question. Yes, you heard it right. If the interviewer asks you a question, you could also ask him a question back. That's absolutely correct. But you should only do this if it's a really tricky question. Because if you turn the tables on your questioner, it can encourage a really healthy discussion. And sometimes, maybe the interviewer even forgets to ask you the answer to the first question that he asked you, which you were not able to answer. Okay, now let me give you a real life situation. For example, a child asks his parent, "Are you getting divorced?" Now that would be a very awkward situation. It would be very difficult for the parent to answer this question. But by answering this very smartly, the parent can divert the child's attention. They could say, "Why are you asking this?" So this way, they can easily divert and distract the child completely. And the same way, when you're in the interview, if the interviewer asks you an inappropriate question, or if he asks you for an opinion on some topic which you're not able to answer, so in that case, you could ask him back, "What's your opinion on this?" And it's very nice if you could add the phrase, "If I may ask, what's your opinion on this?" By adding this phrase, "If I may ask you," you will sound even more polite and gentle to the interviewer. When you're in your job interview, even if you feel as though your answer to someone's question isn't quite what they were hoping for, a good strategy would be to end your answer with a positive statement or a fact that actually encourages them to ask you follow-up questions. That you can answer, obviously, more readily and more easily. For example, suppose you're asked in a job interview why you are leaving your previous job role with another company. Now that's very tricky. Ending your response, you could answer, "I have heard many good things about the upcoming sales figures of your company and this quarter, and wanted to move to a more prestigious organization than my previous one." So this one provides the answer on a positive note, upon which you can move to the next question. So this way you can actually end that question on a very positive note, and always remember to end it with a smile and with confidence. So make sure whatever question you answer, whether you know the answer or not, you must answer it with a positive approach and with complimenting the interviewer and his organization. Whatever be the question, remember to always end with a smile and a positive statement whenever possible. Preferably one that shows how great your attitude is towards your previous company and even the company that you're trying to enter into. And keep breathing, keep smiling, stay steady, and be strong. And also remember not to beat yourself up if you're not able to get it right. We all make mistakes, and it's always good to get better. So thank you so much for watching this session with me. I hope you learned a lot about how to answer a tricky question in a smart way. So all the best for your next job interview, and thank you for staying with me. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel Skillopedia. And while you subscribe, do click on the bell icon so that you can receive all the notifications for our every new upload. So thank you, and you take care. You're watching Skillopedia, the place to learn skills for the real world.